Thank you for thank you very particularly Bob sir for inviting me this occasion. And no need to introduce about the Bob sir, the kind of the social contest it came to exist in the Jawaharlal Nehru University. In fact, this kind of phenomena, the way Gaddar also identified, where you were talking about the Phule and Ambedkar, the way organization itself you named after, and Gaddar, of course, he came from the Naxalite movement, and after that, the very intense phase of the Dalit movement, he also felt there's a need to being a Dalit, and he also felt seriously and have number of songs on uh, related to the Dalit movement, and he gave the voice to the Dalit movement. And here today we are celebrating the Gaddar. The way the posters also generally people used to put the posters of the this kind of occasions, some condolences or something like that we used to say. But here very aptly the students also put the poster celebrating the Gaddar. What is the celebration of the Gaddar? Celebration of the Gaddar, Gaddar is never be as identified in a Telugu society or in India as individual. Nothing personal about Gaddar. He is a collective social identity. He is a symbol of protest. And when celebrating Gaddar means it is also celebrating about us, celebrating our life, celebrating our culture, celebrating our wounds, celebrating also voice which has given for the voiceless. And let me talk briefly about the what is Gaddar. Many of the people in the new generation, this digital generation, may not be aware of the Gaddar. At the same time, it is also digital generation may just give the space for the Gaddar also. But we can't see such a kind of the force and where the Gaddar used to sing and where lakhs of people used to carry it with him. It is not even not the greatness of many people might be, we'll see very few people by reading the books in JNU or something going for the struggles. That also I have seen. But with that by books may influence very few people. But the voice of the Gaddar mesmerized, influenced lakhs of people. I am not exaggerating. It is you can identify the people who. Right. So, then what makes him? What is this man Gaddar? What is the phenomenon of Gaddar? As I told, talking about Gaddar means, and also we are talking about ourselves. And he inaugurated the collective self of the social self of this country. We are not talking about the people of the dominance and hegemonic kind of people. We never be considered as this. But he talks against is a powerful voice and directly speaks to the power. And let me see just to very we'll talk about rather than the intellectual kind of talk. Let us very casually, informally, one can see that what does been Gaddar. Most of the people they are not even aware of the Gaddar. That is a tragic part of our society and this context where we are living. And the man, it is talking about Gaddar, as I told, it is also just history happened in just before us. It is not the history of the Gaddar, history of the struggles of this country, history of the struggles of the alternative struggles of this country, history of the democracy, how it is shaped in this country and all, where in undemocratic societies and where the people voiced for the democracy, that voice is Gaddar. Not only it is not exaggeration to say about Gaddar, is if you look at intellectually, politically, or in terms of the culture or literature, nobody matches such kind of personality in the world means I'll come to that point later. Why it is why it is not just it is for the sake of the people somebody died. People used to say a lot of things about the people who left us and all. But at the same time, it is the history is happened, and we are also most of us is also not aware of that one. That means we are erasing our history. History means not only just coming from the books. History means not through NEP syllabus it is imposed on the people. This is the history, not that. The people's history, our history. There is no place in the universities and also the kind of syllabus. Of course, you may say that thing nobody has written like that. Yes, there's not written, but the people created the history. If not today, tomorrow, not only in India, the world they have to look for who is this fellow. By the time we are looking at Gaddar, it makes no sense and all. But now itself we have to see what is a Gaddar. Gaddar, as I told, rare intellectual, artist, balladeer, poet performer, political commentator, social scientist, ideologue of alternative movements, and more than that, he is a powerful communicator of the democratic struggles of this nation. And it is difficult to imagine such a personality imbibing all these skills. In other way, he is a visual poem of our oral repository. For us, it is knowledge means what has written in the books from the JNU or some other university. Of course, the tradition also lost today, this time. The with large, the rich culture of this country, it is in oral form, not in the written culture and all. The oral forms are not died out. Still, it has its own continuity. The people, the way sense of belongingness, you can see that one. Irrespective of the class, culture, and region, the people can identify with that kind of culture. It is because of the rootedness. Mostly our nations like us, it is agrarian nations and also people, the culture which we are talking about. Suppose today we are talking about the cinema and other kind of culture. It is, of course, it is roots in the folk. The folk means is related to the work. Work means it is the people's labor and all. That is the way it shows. Exactly there, the people like Gaddar identified that kind of culture, that kind of folk phenomena. Of course, they use it for the different context by politicizing the folklore and all. And as I told, the kind of literature, the way we try to look at the kind of the intellectual activity, the kind of knowledge system, the kind of literature, the kind of theories we try to prepare, and none of all these theories fails in front of the Gaddar. People talk about the literature, you know it very well. It is not art for the sake of art for the people. And not only for people, there are many people also might be written so many things and all. But at the same time, literature, the link between the literature and politics, and also not only politics and also performance, and all these things, and also simultaneous, immediate, spontaneous effect on the people, we can't see with others. He himself is a narrate the story, and also he is story writing. Not writing culture is not there on the weaving culture. It is there on the spot. They used to narrate some kind of poem. They may be weaving, and then they give the voice for that one, and so many things. The way it is try to connect the link between the culture, politics, and also our society. That's why for Gaddar, celebrating Gaddar means celebrating our life, culture, and struggles, and where we can't be differentiate and all. He erased all these kind of the differences, and if they're talking about the Gaddar further, it is not a just is not just history, it is our future too. He has a vision of the society, imagination of the society, what kind of society there. You know, everybody knows what kind of society we are living, the kind of oppression and exploitation, the kind of problem it is there. It may be in the form of gender, it may be caste, or maybe pay, whatever the form it might be there. And also have the vision of looking how to overcome this one, the vision of the future. That is why Gaddar is important, not just for something is happened. It is not the page written in a history. It is also a page which stands for the, which also speaks for the future also. And let me, that way we gather, as I tried to talk about, it is also, as I told, continuity between the oral and mediating between the oral culture and also it is the written culture. And he is a performer of the social memory, invokes the social memory through his songs. There we can feel the collectivity and also construct the community, and also it gives some kind of sense of solidarity, not only belongingness, all these kind of issues or elements are involved. Is kind of thing. He is one kind of the Vachanikara. It is not only singer, he is to perform. Not only performs, only not confined to the singing tradition and all. He also talks about the politics. Politics not only it is not very the contextually the where he is located, and there that's why it is also political commentator. The way this one kind of the Desi Vachanakara. That tradition which is there in the country for a long time, the way from the Bhakti tradition, very particularly radical Bhakti traditions is there and all, and Vemana and Vera Brahmam and some of the people like that, the way they contested the kind of Brahmanical hegemony, we can also easily, even though he came from the Marxist tradition and he never be gave up the cultural roots of the society, that is the strength of the Gaddar. He has taken up the folklore, and also he politicized the folklore and all. And it is not just used whatever the way it is like it and all. We'll come later to that point and all. Altogether, my point is that Gaddar redefined the Indian literature. Not only literature means for us only small aspects. Somebody you can for a long time you know what is literature and all. The so many generations what it is the classical literature became a literature for us. After that, people who came forward and all, something it is there, the continuation of that classical literature it becomes. Then come later, even though we try to come out to the some kind of progressive literature, it is there, but progressive literature mostly confined to the elite section and all. Maybe they're good people, they may be confined to that one. It is not reached to the people. But where the power of the literature, it is the real power of the literature in the people's cultural form, in a performatory forms, in a folk forms, or in other words, in all these forms, folk forms, song seems to be the central. The where he captured the central where location of our culture and the song he is identified, and then from there he tried to redefine the literature and all. This is the literature. Earlier, now also we won't feel literature. Song is not a literature at all, but he tried to make it has a strength. Not only this spontaneous, immediate effect, it is there. It is also rootedness. It is there. Just like that, even though the recent we can see all the songs it is there, but we won't find the rootedness of this kind of songs. The kind of purpose, the kind of the film songs wherever taken us to the direction we can easily find out and all. Then let me see to the here the way the people just now the friends he told that one it is of course he started the 5 decades he's ruled that cultural kind of the political space of the alternative movements in this country. Maybe different levels might be different levels, different cultural phenomena is there. But he's connected to all the kind of this and all over India he is a tour. And in 1970s, the way the Naxalite movement it is there, the angry young men, we can see that one, the political mobilization it is there. That is the time the where we can see the contesting the earlier kind of the politics, progressive politics, where we can see the radical politics in this country. And there we used to see the kind of the kind of organizations which are like that revolutionary writers association or cultural forms like the Jannati Mandali. The way Gaddar he tried to relate to the Jannati Mandali, is the founder of this Jannati Mandali. Jannati, before that it is there, it is a Prajanati Mandali, it is there. They themselves identified the importance of the folk and people's culture, but they have taken given the different route of this kind of the cultural phenomena. The what kind of route is there? You know it very well. The literary level, what is literature and how do we lead the struggles and the purpose and the function of literature is defined, but it failed to reach the people. The written culture, the way the progressive writers, whoever it may be, they may be written well written and all. Now we are talking about that they are the Yugakarta and all. This era is mine, Sri Sri is mine. Like that people used to talk about. But they fail to reach the people, but the way the people they try to talk of masses to masses, that is the baseline of their kind of philosophy. But somehow they fail to reach the people. But here exactly the importance of the Jannat Mandali and this kind of people we can see the masses to masses means, and these are the people where the people like Gaddar, Wangapandu, or it is there's so many other unknown figures will be. It is not Gaddar is not a symbol face like that we're talking about. It's not individual, it's a collective of the context, and also it is the larger collective wisdom bring together, and also he is the face of the struggle and all. We are not never try to look at as a individual. Of course, he has a, apart from the struggle, without struggles, he will not be there. But at the same time, to give there may be many artists might be there, but nobody matches like a Gaddar and all. The kind of in terms of his creativity, in terms of the way he's taking the song and all the cultural, the paradigmic situation and all. There it is the five generations, 5 decades we can see this importance and all. The most very interestingly one can find out the most of the people, this kind of cultural activist. Suppose in a progressive literature, it is happened to be the drawn from the mostly the upper strata, maybe sincere fellows. But when come to the cultural form, it is mostly Dalit Bahujans. It is there, and there we can see the kind of the not performers, not the singers, not only dancers, and we can see the people having the organic link with society. They identify the tunes of the people, and also the picks up, and also they politicize, and also again there is the masses to matches, the way real purpose of that one can see this one. Then when try to look at the 70s phenomenon, 80s, when come to the 80s, we can see late 80s onwards is the new direction it is there. And left movements also is in crisis. Crisis in the sense, of course, maybe repression might be there. Apart from this thing, ideologically also, when they are not taken up the issues of the caste or gender, and they're also in a crisis. At the same time, there we can see outside the struggles, the serious struggles also, genuine political struggles, they came out the different form, different methods they identified. And in that process, one can see that exactly there. Again, one can see that thing, that is a thing, how to take over from this kind of as a struggles. We can see as a, looking at our democratic struggles as a compartmentalized, this Naxalite struggle, Dalit struggle, Sunni struggle. But we can see that changing context and also the importance of the struggles, and there exactly late 80s onwards, 80s onwards, one can see the articulation of the Dalit movement, and where atrocities on the Dalit, when the people are trying to question the hegemony of the caste system, there we can see the atrocities happen and all. One such kind of things happen, we can see that, that is the Karanchedu massacre. The way starting for the Dalit movement and all. 1985, in a Karanchedu, the where Kamma landlords, they killed the 5 Dalits and all. And why it is there? Because of Dalits are contesting. They are not ready to, it is mobilized to them. They are not ready to subordinate them. That is the contest. Even though it is left movement, it is there where it is Gaddar used to sing for this thing, Dalita Pululamma. He said that even though they got killed, he said that he is praising them as a Dalita Pulul. That means Dalit tigers. That means they fought. They are not just defeated, they fought. That kind of spirit is totally new kind of phenomena. Even now also till that is in India, that is the marching song for the Dalit struggles and all, Dalit Pullamma, the kind of force, the kind of imagination, the kind of the protest, one can see that one and all. Later his that is one phase it is there, Dalit movement. And after the Chundur massacre and other level it is there, you know what happens, and BSV and other phenomena it is there. And that also we expect that thing. Of course, it is that this movement contesting the even the left movements on other level. It has strength. It is there. Lot of promise. It is there. When come to the other level, we didn't see the much more progress in this kind of struggles. Theoretically, much more powerful. It is strengthened. The questions raised has to be answered. But at the same time, we have seen the whatever the reasons might be there, either the kind of the problems in terms of leadership, whatever may be there and all. But exactly these people, again, it is late 90s, it is onwards, it is also, it is some kind of crisis is also there. and the movements are not moved further. And there, luckily, one can see with the Gaddar, with the Telangana movement and all. The Telangana agitations saved the people slowly, where politically some way they lost the face, again re-emerged everything. If you look at closely from the JNM, Jannati Mandali of the Naxalbari movement, or the Dalit movement, or it is a later Telangana movement, it is a mostly these artists only, the Dalit Bahujan artists, they played an important role. Of course, they may be ideologically different kind of positions may be maintaining, and that way all the places we can see the presence of the Gaddar. In simple terms, what I would like to say, there is no struggle without the participation of the Gaddar, without the voice of the Gaddar. You take any struggle in Andhra Pradesh, or Andhra Pradesh, where I'm telling you, they're a little bit vibrant and all compared to the other places, and most of the struggles it is taken. And of course, it's largely identified with the struggles of the nation also. And the Telangana struggles, again, he gave the voice. In this process, what I'm telling you, one has to understand Gaddar, the historical process, what happened. And other level, one has to see the kind of the problems faced by the one way strength of the struggles one can find out. It is not so easy to contest the power. And that way one has to acknowledge the struggles, either the left, Dalit or women or any kind of struggles. At the same time, it is contesting, it is the state under such a powerful situation, it is to sustain the movement also very difficult and all. Sometimes co-opting, sometimes, but very particularly the leaders of the forefront, very particularly people like the forefront cultural leaders like Gaddar, it is very much difficult and all. Even though the Telangana movement, it is they take in the different phase has taken the politics, but they can't in a position to tolerate that one. That's why in 1997 there is an attack on Gaddar. Attack on the Gaddar means it is nearly it is no need to say this thing. One can easily imagine why it is happened, who is responsible for kind of things in the name of green tigers, who is responsible. I don't know. There's a 4 or 5 bullets they are pumped into his body. Generally, it is unimaginable to escape kind of this thing. On the spot, one can see that one. It is long back. He should be. We can see as in the list of martyrs. But miraculously, the way he is. But interestingly, 4 bullets they removed from his body. Interestingly, even 1 bullet it is in body and all. They thought that is his spinal cord. It is there. If you remove that kind of bullet, he will die. That's why they left it like that only. With that bullet, he lived for the 25 years and all. He never stopped the song singing and all. He never gave up that one and all. That's why he very often used to say, "I am the loaded gun." That loaded gun means already bullet is inside. It's a loaded gun and all. It is loaded gun against the soul. That way, nobody can talk about lot of things. Many people, many ways they try to talk about that one. That's one has to see the team in terms of sacrifices and commitment and the way Gaddar he tried to look at it all. As I told, the he's a infectious poet performer, and you can't help but sing along with him. Audience used to sing along with him. Not one, thousands of people, lakhs of people used to sing. That means generally we thought that singing is something is different. One way it is lot of sadhana is required. It is not easy. It is not our game like that we talk. But Gaddar tried to, it is easy. This is your song. You yourself can be, anybody can sing that song. That is the success of this thing. Not only anybody singing, also collectively the meeting like this thing, he used to involve all the people and all. That way one can see the kind of strength and also make them the people to think, not just for the sake of entertainment. And also he tried to think, people used to think about this thing, what it is there and all. Not only thinking about that one, and also he also tried to talk about, is now we are not alone. This is talking about the suffering of us, hardship faced by the life, and at the same time, he is also other people. He also need to be come together. Such sense of belongingness and solidarity to provide. That way, one can see him as the protest literature, the world protest literature. Gaddar has an important place. Protest literature means any form of communication that engages the social consciousness and may move someone to action. And at that level, it is the world history, if you look at the kind of literature, protest literature, people very often used to talk about 1940s. We used to talk about the Paul Robson, the where we try to talk about the black singer is the son of the slavery, the slave, the way he used to sing the songs. 70s, we can see the Bob Marley of Jamaica and this thing, now is a global figure. And when come to the 80s and 90s, is we can see the Gaddar. Not only this thing continued for the 4 or 5 decades, he used to be there and all. And it is when the Bob Marley reggae, that is the dance form, which is a culmination of the different art forms is there, folk forms, where we can see in a Gaddar, Rela Rele, we consider. The way one has to look at what do you mean by the Rela. That means symbolically identified the tribe, Adivasis, and also village, and also it symbolizes the struggles and all. For him, the song, it is not as an art song, Ata, Pata, Mata. The song and also dance and also the talks and commentary all together used to be mingled together, and also along with this thing used to perform. Not only he writes, he sings. Not only he sings, he performs. And not only performing, as I told, the very loaded kind of the thing, and the kind of music, his songs are accompanied by the not the classical kind of instrument and all. It's the ordinary percussion kind of instrument, one a dolak and also dappu. Most of you also might be using for your bapsa meetings and all. These instruments, and also gajal, gongali, gochi, gajal. The way you used to have the one kind of the blanket, black blanket used to wear, where they used to shepherds used to have Telangana villages, and also gajal, so small anklets, it used to be there. It gives the movement and all, and also gochi, line cloth will be there. We used to talk about only Gandhi is a man has a simple and all, but it is the way when it comes to the Gaddar is the way it is not. It is forceful is not introducing this kind of attire and all. It is there. It is a common attire. The way people identified with this kind of attire. Now it become a phenomenon. We can see the Gaddar means it is like Gaddar, many Gaddars we can see in Andhra today and all. He make it as a symbol, as a trademark, and this way it is there and all. On such level, the way he tried to create the impression is also that way is a household name in the Andhra, and it is a kind of properties also they are using and all. The way he tried while performing, they used one stick will be there, and the way he used the stick, and also when using the kerchief or shawl, it is there. With this thing, it is the way so many kind of the movements is created. Suddenly that shawl become the mother who lost the children, and also is also a martyr, and also the man who also fighting against this one. That kind of things he used to create. The way he is hugging that cloth by as a scheme the impression that it is as a the martyr, as it my son, no, as it a woman. The way it is there, that is very much is one can't forget that one, and the kind of the humming, the ha, like that you used to say and all. Every part of his body, every cell of his body is a part of that kind of performance. We can't see this thing and all. Even if the hair also is say like that, is that also creates some kind of rhythm, some kind of music, some kind of protest, some kind of the way it is the assertion. That level he tried to use the every kind of this one. That way he's the way he tried to talk about when the attack it is there and all. Then he tried to talk about I will come back as a Telugu Talli Beddal or Telugu. Then the one can see that one the kind of response it is there. I didn't see much response after his death. We expected a lot, but at the same time there is a kind of response it is there when the whole Andhra Pradesh, the undivided Andhra Pradesh, it is there. They thought that thing. They not only condemned and all, everybody is sitting there and all, just in front of the hospital, Nizam Hospital, and lot of this. That time the people say that thing. There is no death. The Praja Yuddha Pataku Chavu Ledu. There is no death for the song of the people's war. Worship. He is also used called as a warship. Prajayuddha Nauka, that kind of things is also people used to come. He himself also promised and all. Telugu Talli Biddalara, Nannuganna Telugu Talli Pallelara, Nannuganna Biddalara, Nannuganna Pallelara, I'm come Patanai Vastunanam. I'm coming as a, again and born rising as a song. Really, he's also kept his promise and is also raised as a song. Then it is, as I told, it is as a Paul Robson, I told it is there. You know, might have known about the song of the Old Man River. But Old Man River keeps rolling along. The song is about a man who works along a Mississippi River and toils all the day long, without rest until the day. It contrasts the struggles and hardship of the African Americans with endless, uncaring flow of the Mississippi River. Similarly, the same, it is one can see the Gaddar when try to sing the song. It is there he try to talk about the భారతదేశం భాగ్యసీమర భారతదేశం భాగ్యసీమర సంప పాడి పంటల కొదువులేదురా బట్ దరిద్రమెట్టా ఉందిరో నాయన. The still is plenty of is a fertile land and also lot of resources are there, but still why the yet the poverty persists. This is a very popular song all over India. It is Hindi also very popular and all. Bharat Mahan Bhumi and all. Such kind of song, he is also, one can see the way that the kind of the voice and where they're connecting, either Paul Robson or it is a Gaddar, one can make the sense what they talk about. And further it I talk about this Kumaroni Intlabuttu Kattiledu Suttiledu. Where the productive masses or classes are there, they used to produce the weapons, the blacksmith used to, but you don't have the even knife and is there and all. Of course, Ambedkar talk about the people who are producing the kind of weapons, but they have courage to use the weapons against the kind of oppressor. Of course, here the people are responsible for that one, but we don't have the, even though they are responsible for this production of this one, they don't have this, that like that many songs has written and all. And then we go talk about Raktamto Naduputanu Rekshanu, Na Raktame Na Rekshak Petrol. We're talking about the labor. I used to run my rickshaw with my blood. My blood itself is a petrol for my rickshaw. Such kind of imagination, such a raw kind of imagination, we can't easily find out. When it is, as I told in 70s, as a Bob Marley phenomenon, immediately we can come to the curse to that one same kind of the Paul Robson kind of thing. Of course, Paul Robson, somebody may write a poet and also is singing kind of different level. It is there. He has, but when come to Bob Marley, the taken has a different level. He also Jamaican this thing. He also happened to be songs about the African Americans, the way these people are taken over, and also the way it is exploited. Today we're talking about the developed nation. They developed at the cost of the exploiting the labor of this the black people who are sold out very cheap labor as a cheap labor and all. You know it very well, very popular song. The Buffalo Soldiers, you might have known about that one, stolen from Africa, brought to America. Of course, he has to sing and all. But fighting on arrival, fighting for survival. That way it is there. Then we'll come to the other level, the way the people identified with the songs of the women, and where we try to talk about the Bharata Mata in order to divert the kind of our attention. But never is, or we can say that who is a woman is a bearer of suffering. But where people like Gaddar has given the different imagination of the mother, different imagination of the woman. That what kind of imagination it is there, not only bearer of suffering, is also fighting, struggling, fighting against that kind of oppression and all. The kind of oppression also, he has totally given the new kind of idiom he has given and all. The way the women working in the fields, the way he tried to sing about the song about his mother. Sirmalle Chettikinda Lakshmamo, Chenaboyi Kuchana Vema Lakshmamo. And also the word is also is a plan, the time of harvesting, the plantation time it is there. Paddy plantation, the way it is sitting tucked into the mud, and the way he tried to narrate, capture the kind of imagination, the kind of things, and the kind of the aesthetic feel of the kind of the suffering. We never feel it is suffering, and also you feel aesthetic, and also he evolved aesthetics out of it, and also he translated it into the different kind of domain by making it as a sense of assertion and also life, the assertion of life also can be seen. Apart from this thing, he has written many, you know about Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry. It is a celebration in the face of hardship speaks volumes of life for the Jamaican ghettos. And of course, through his songs, indirectly try to give solace and hope for that one. And there we can see his n number of songs has written and all. Where it is that kind. He has seen practically has seen something somewhere. And of course, some women also taken over the gang women of the railways. They have taken the, and this is my son, this is my girl, and I will take care of that one. That. There he has written the one song. It is a very popular Nindu Amavasya Nadu Adapella Puttindamu. Where in Amavasya means a bread. Then that nobody came to see, either father, mother, or it is in-laws, her husband. Nobody came to see her when as the woman is born like that. When woman child it is there and all, there he tried to talk. Not only like that, and also there's not only one and many songs has written like that and all. Then apart from that one, as I told, he's the songs are he's known for the struggles, identification, and also he always reminds the martyrs. And there we can say that you can use the Western, the wailer, we can use it. One wailer means as a mourner utters long, loud, high-pitched cries to utter mournful cry as in a grief or suffering. And there you can see countless songs about Amaravirulu, Vandanalu, Vandanalamu, Na Beddalara, Lal Salam, Lal Salam. And you will come as the crow. He tried to give different kind of imageries is given to capture the people or the importance of the struggles. Generally, we thought that is a law and some encounter that is a law and order problem like that we used to see the way newspapers used to report. But he tried to give the totally different kind of Yuddhamlo Virlu Topakul. He tried to talk about the man who died in the war, and also there it is the gun has hugged him and all. And then he tried to talk about when they has fall down and also lost their life. This earth has taken to this kind of the lamenting, and they taken to their hug. Taken to their fold. That like that the kind of imagination it is there apart from this one. Then when the importance of the songs, one can see that there is a significant change it is there when come to the songs of the earlier times, where we can see imagination. It is after narrating all these things, ultimate end point will be there. Let us have the Kuli Rajyam or some other, it is socialism kind of thing, it is there. But interestingly, that is the word seems to be very dry. What do you mean by the Kuli Rajyam? Or it is what is that where one can see the Gaddar, he came out of this one late 90s. Of course, he also came out of the party as a strained relation with the party. Maybe different kind of reasons might be there. He will never be critical, and of course the issue brings out the Telangana issue and caste issue and other issues also there. It is not the fault of Gaddar also. It is also, one has to see the limitations of the struggles. Very easy to criticize Gaddar or somebody, but one has to see where the struggles are there. Either it is the left movements or Dalit movements or women movement, and where we are locating. All our crises, all our limitations equally applies to him. And in the crisis, he has to search for the space where he is there. One can say this thing, once upon you are the great kind of cultural performer, you keep quiet, already enough name it is there. Don't move away, all these things. This kind of dictas, we can see that, but he's a performer, he don't want to keep quiet, and at the same time there's no space for him and all. He want to identify everywhere and all, but at the same time, everywhere, wherever identified, he symbolized only protest. He never be deviated from the core level. He identified with the protest is the underlying principles of the Gaddar and all. Other than protest, either any movement. People say this thing because of the conflicting ideology against the Dalits and also Naxalites or Dalits. One may theoretically discuss yet this Sabarmati Daba and about this kind of, very often people also used to have this one, but he has seen core level some fight should be there. Suffering, we can't bear it, we can't subordinate. And that level, maybe in it is. He went to the level of let us even support at the bare level is the constitution. One man on vote, minimum level supporting is also all right. And he also went, of course, they may be criticizing some of the things he went to the some other religious level also. But people forget the importance of the religion and culture. Ambedkar realized the importance of the religion as a social force and culture. And all Bhakti tradition also very much is rooted. And in terms of political terms, it is easy to the negate. We also felt the problem how we can go there and all. Somehow he felt from the beginning, even though politically they are critical about him and all, the religious level and the way it is try to talk about. And the ultimately I will come to the very 4 5 minutes I will take after that I will stop here. And it is my point I would like to make it that whatever the strength of our movements, theory, ideologies, that is the strength of the Gaddar. What are the limitations of this kind of this our struggles in terms of theory or in terms of the practice? There is also we can find the limitations of the Gaddar. Here and there, he also agrees. My small mistakes might be there. After all, I am a human being, and but at the same time, he's also we never see the, such a grave mistakes as committed. He's for lifelong. We can't imagine such kind of people. It is. The stand for certain kind of issues for the this one and all. And apart from this one, he also give the new kind of turn has given for the politics where Telangana agitation it is there, and Telangana is a very popular song. It is there. Telangana ma akale kekale garaba and all. He's talking about the whole Telangana, the suffering and also problems of that. Is very popular song. Apart from that one, the very popular song it is there. Poru Telangana పొడుస్తున్న పొద్దు మీద నడుస్తున్న కాలమా. That is the way the movement is rising of Telangana movement. He captured the aspiration of the Telangana and all. Of course, today Telangana is captured by this thing, but from the beginning these people are the very particularly the cultural artist only gives the imagination of the Telangana. Is the political people taken over and also they now monopolize that kind of thing. Now they don't want to allow anybody also to take the fruits of the Telangana, even though all the people. But they give the different kind of imagination. There 90 earlier times itself, the way Gaddar, Telangana Praja Samiti, some committee I think, Telangana Praja Committee it is there. And apart from this one, as a civil right activist it is there. And also Dalit movement is a very particularly Madhigandora movement. He is being a Mala, is the other subcaste it is there. He thought that he came forward to be the supporter and also led the struggles of that one. And apart from prisoner struggles and also in encounter, fake encounter, there's the way the bodies can't be given to the handover to the parents. And he struggled for that one. Parents should be the body, at least the death should be celebrated respectfully, and in that level if that became a problem, it generated a lot of questions when you try to claim the bodies, and after that kind of other issue also came, that has also maybe irritated the governments and also the problem. But one can see the importance of exactly when the firing on the attack on the Gaddar can be seen, it is attack on the civil society and all. The civil society understood that there itself the strength of they tested the civil society is there, where it is, how far it is there and all. The man who was working with the art like civil society, they are working there, and one can see that. Apart from this one, in a modern times, the market days totally is a different kind of culture is generated. He also try to capture that what is this thing, the way TV and also the totally mentally and also ideologically and also politically, economically is controlling and all. There he tried to write so many songs and all. And also against the war. Kayyam Bettindaro color TV my inticochi. The color TV come to my home and is created the conflict among me and my children and my wife. The kind of culture it is. You yourself know. Of course, today it is the color TV replaced by the mobile. And of course, it's a totally different world. Each one is living on one island in the same place we are living also. That level, one can see that one. That way, the way it is Gaddar is connected to that one, it as I told is a folk, it is folk means is a work means it is, these conditions are there everywhere and all. The kind of, that's why either it can be related to the Paul Robson or it is related to the Bob Marley or in some kind of Latin American kind of the struggles and all. Such a level, and also Gaddar is taken to the kind of the struggles and by the articulation through the cultural form and different level he is taken and all. And there I ends with my song where the Bob Marley try talk about get up, stand up for your rights, don't give up the fight. And then where Gaddar he tries to sing that one, Agadu, 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 Akali Poru, Agadu, Banis. This one it is the of the anger never stops and all. Huh? And he further also try to talk about when the people are uniting, coming together, Seemaladandu, Kadilinai, huh? Pamulu Puttal business, snakes, how they got afraid, and also the way how he is also threatened the strong people, Dora around. This is the way one can see the kind of message of the way Gaddar. Then he ultimately, the last song, he tried to, he's from the beginning, he tried to talk about the slaves, Banisalara, Lindira. This is a recent song, it's the Banisalara, Lindira, is the Banchan Uddaran. Apart from this thing, he's also popular in the film songs. All the three songs, whatever it is, very few songs it is there. 90s, 70s, he has appeared with the Nizam Sarkar Road, but that is a song where against the Nizam it is there, is where he played a role. And there it is a very powerful song it is there. Then Rangulikala 70s it is there, Madana Sundari, that is one more song it is there. And after that one more song it is there, and Ni Padam Mida Puttamachanautam, where is a song of the where Narayana Murthy, one more it is to make this kind of the progressive films. And there that film got that song got the Nandi Award, but he rejected. He's never after the kind of, if you want to go there and all, he's a totally different kind of phenomena. He never went. After that one, latest Jai Bodo's Telangana, the Telangana movement, it is very much intensified. As I told, Nadustunna Pudustunna Poddu Mida Nadustunna Surida, it has got the Nandi Award. And you can imagine the kind of personality where he started, the multifacetedness, struggles, politics, history, and we never see nothing personalities there, and nothing it is. He also talks about the all aspect of our life, or every social group. He tries to sing that one and all, and ultimately he makes us. He's also written song on his own death and all. Then he tried to the one should be. Listen to that song by, it is easily available on the kind of today's the any kind of YouTube you can talking about. His whole worry is that who will take care of me and who will carry my struggles further. That is the way it is there. He tried to Mogaboyana Gontulu Ragame or Disedru, E Jeraboyana Gontulu Jeome or Posedru, Janapadam Jeva Kanamulu, Janapadam Jeva Kanamulu, జీవాక్షరాలు ఎవరివో చినిగిన ఆ ధోతి రుమాలు ఎవరు చుట్టుకొందురు, అలిగిన ఆ గొంగడి బొంతు ఎవరు అలుముకొందురు, ఆ చినబోయిన చేతికర్ర సాము ఎవరు చేసెదరు, ఆ పగిలిపోయిన డప్పుపై దరువులు ఎవరు వేసెదరు, ఆ చిరిగిన డోలకు ఆత్మకు ఎదకు ఎవరు హత్తుకొనరు. ఈ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ హిజ్ the who will be taken by the song, the way the song is silent, who will carry further, and also in a Janapada this kind of thing, and who will put the life seeds of life can be who sow this one. And further he tried to talk about the dhoti, what he tried to, as I told, is the dhoti is using and all, and the who will further carry this kind of things in the gongadi and dhoti and all, even the stick whatever it is there and all. That is how very symbolically, poetically they talk about is it is not about talking about, it looks like talking about his personal death, and it is not personal death, it is the death of the collective self. And also he argues that thing, it has to be, it is survived, and also is the not only this one is it should be asserted against the kind of life it would be. So one has to sing against the kind of oppression for the sake of dignity and respect of the society, and that is the imagination of the Gaddar. I believe it is Gaddar celebrating Gaddar. It is celebration of ourselves, and also it is a respect for the kind of the literature of the world, the figure of the alternative figure, the where even this kind of, even I nominated him for this Right to Livelihood Award. Twice we are nominated and all, but they failed to know who is Gaddar and all. That is the where that is not the limitation of the problem for the Gaddar, where others were not recognizing. But suppose even the, of course, kind of repression, suppose Gaddar has a given space, then definitely in this kind of situation, the digital media and is a free space, it is there, restriction is not there, is become a definitely the world phenomenon. None can be stopped, even though we can see, but nothing has written about in Gaddar. I believe that thing, the students, you write and read about Gaddar. What is this phenomena? Where we can find out that will be the contribution of the BAPSA, the kind of holding this, creating such kind of foundation. That is a response of the scholars, the way we are doing kind of research, unnecessary, not of the thousands of pages you write. You also where the footnotes also we are trying to look at where two hands, the man has two hands also there we try to get the footnote. It doesn't require footnote and all. It is already part of the people's culture and also talking about us. This kind of things, one has to be part of our literature, part of our culture, part of our struggles, and also part of our academics. And that way, we ourselves, this is one way of saluting the life. Lal Salam. Or not, he is also not carrying with this kind of one. He tried to ultimately. I am looking only for the he tried to see the ultimately Ambedkar Phule. He is such a level also. He at the same time Ambedkar Phule. He want to be much more intensified kind of struggles he expected. I hope the organizations like the BAPSA, where it can create some kind of the vibration in the academic spaces like this. Thank you all.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk on Gaddar and also his contribution. Because, see, my affiliation with Telugu is very narrow in that way. I don't understand the language that way. As far as, like, no, I can only understand, I can say 50 songs of Gaddar. So that is the only connections I have with the language, and that is the connections. So what I'm trying to do here, first, of course, I would like to thank Babsa for organizing this meeting, and I can see that it's already very late. People are waiting to play badminton also. So I will just take 10-12 minutes to just summarize the talk that I wanted to discuss. So I will just discuss some anecdote, how Gaddar connected with the people, what was his approach, and how I got involved in these kinds of research. So last time I called him, I think 2 months back, and he was not keeping well. Also, the court criminal cases was going on in Bangalore. So he had to, from Hyderabad to Bangalore, he has to go time and again. He was feeling very tired, frustrated also. And then we had a plan to make a short documentary, and that is why I was again planning to have a meeting with him. But unfortunately now, instead of having this documentary, now we are doing this obituary or be doing this celebration. So दो बातें दो तीन चीज़ें जो मैं रखना चाहूँगा यहाँ पे, एक ये है कि पहली बार मैं मिलने गया था, so I went to Hyderabad just as a kind of excited PhD student कि हम आप पे काम करना चाहते हैं, गदर पे काम करना चाहते हैं, जननाट्य मंडली पे काम करना चाहते हैं. And then he said कि क्यों काम करना चाहता है, what is the point of working. And again, he was quite agitated in that way. I was feeling that maybe why he is so agitated. And the whole point that, आपने कबीर पे काम नहीं किया, आपने रविदास पे काम नहीं किया, आपने तुका पे काम नहीं किया, आपने क्या उसको लोग गलत लिए. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि अगर आप काम करेंगे या काम ना करें, whether you are going to write on me or whether you are not going to write on me, it does not matter at all. ना लोग तुका को भूल गए हैं, ना कबीर को भूल गए हैं, ना लोग मेरे लोग मुझे याद रखेंगे. So that I have the faith on my people, and people will remember me. So whether you are going to write on me or not, and that was the point. And then also this whole conversation started. So first meeting I am having with him, and then he's just talking to me, saying that अच्छा तुम कौन हो, कहाँ से आए हो. जैसे लगता है कि इस आदमी के पास कोई काम ही नहीं है. जैसे आप जा रहे हो, यू आर मेकिंग ए शेड्यूल, मेकिंग दिस पर्सन, एंड देन ही इज आस्किंग दैट कि प्रॉपर क्वेश्चनायर लेके आओ, ये लेके आना है, वो एकदम प्रॉपर क्या क्या क्वेश्चन है वो सब कुछ लेके आना है, एंड देन ही जस्ट टॉकिंग फॉर लाइक ऑलमोस्ट 2 आवर्स। अच्छा, आप कहाँ से आए हैं, आपके यहाँ क्या खाते हैं लोग, आपकी माँ क्या करती है, आपके यहाँ क्या क्या कल्चरल परफॉर्मेंसेज होता है, वो चलता रहा। सो इट वॉज लाइक for me, I felt like I was not interviewing him, he was interviewing me in other way round। ये 2 घंटे के बाद वो बताया कि क्वेश्चन आया तो लाए हो, उसको पूरे में फेंक दो उधर, अब हम बात करते हैं। एंड देन आई फेल्ट कि व्हाट वाज द पॉइंट ऑफ लाइक मेकिंग दिस क्वेश्चन आयर दैट यू फील लाइक एज अ पार्ट ऑफ रिसर्च एंड थिंग्स। उसको बताया कि इसको रख दो वहाँ पे, बताया कि कुछ पढ़ के बताओ क्या क्या क्वेश्चन है। एंड देन आई रीड आउट सम क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम दैट क्वेश्चन आयर एंड ही सेड दैट इसको पूरे में फेंक दो, अब हम लोग बात करते हैं, और ये भूल जाओ कि तुम पीएचडी कर रहे हो, क्या कर रहे हो, लेट अस जस्ट डिस्कस, जस्ट टॉक। और उसके बाद ये बताया कि अच्छा, तो उस समय पीएचडी लिख भी रहा था, तो लाइक यू यूज लॉट ऑफ कैटेगरीज मेनी टाइम्स, you use lot of like those kinds of vocabularies to define the things, ग्रामसी ये सब मैं यूज कर रहा था। कहा कि से अच्छा ये तो लिफ्ट इरिगेशन है, ये तो आपने लिफ्ट बताता था साइटेशन को, जनरली द टर्म ही यूज टू हैव इज लिफ्ट इरिगेशन, कि आपने यहाँ से उठाया यहाँ लगाया, यहाँ से उठाया यहाँ से लगाया, तो वाई यू आर डूइंग दिस लिफ्ट इरिगेशन। जॉन तुम्हारा तो बहुत बढ़िया कहानी है, वाई डोंट यू गो एंड राइट ऑन योर मदर, तुम अपनी माँ पे एक किताब क्यों नहीं लिख लेते हो जो मेरे ऊपर आए हो किताब लिखने के लिए। And so, like now, talk about the sensibility that he was talking about. So it is not about like she has a very different approach, and that is why I felt like quite agitated when I was reading some reviews in newspapers and things where people were just trying to reduce him to either like Maoist activist, कोई बता रहा है दलित एक्टिविस्ट, कोई बता रहा है तेलंगाना एक्टिविस्ट। गदर को समझने के लिए गदर जैसा दिल और उसके जैसा डेप्थ होने की जरूरत है। आई रियरली मेट ए पर्सन इन माई लाइफ हु हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ डेप्थ। तो और दूसरी बात है कि आई ऑल्सो फील द kinds of connection that he could make, like different kinds of connection, different kinds of association just he had उसमें। it is not just about what Gaddar was writing, I think to understand Gaddar we need a new critic, एक नए आलोचक की ज़रूरत है। गदर के काम को समझने के लिए हमें नए अप्रोच की ज़रूरत है, नए आलोचक की ज़रूरत है, और उस तरह से हम उसको समझ सकते हैं। अदरवाइज जो भी कुछ लिखा जा रहा है उसमें मुझे बहुत बार कॉल भी आ रहा था कि अच्छा अभी तो भटक गए थे, अभी तो आइडियोलॉजिकली कुछ उधर चले गए थे, कोई बता रहा है आइडियोलॉजिकली कुछ ये चले गए थे, लेकिन हिज कंट्रीब्यूशन लाइज समवेयर एल्स, not necessarily in the definitive political terms that we talk about left right, और ये जो पूरा जो इस तरह की जो आइडेंटिटी पॉलिटिक्स से लेकर डिफरेंट लैंग्वेज में बात करते हैं, his contribution lies somewhere else, and I think unless we are not going to recognize those points, we are not to give like have a proper evaluation of Gaddar's work. So that is second point. दूसरा है कि बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट हुए, कल ही बामन दादा करके का सेलिब्रेशन मनाया जा रहा था महाराष्ट्र में, तो महाराष्ट्र में बामन दादा करके हुए, बिहार में भिखारी ठाकुर हुए, उसी तरह से बहुत तरह के रीजनल कलाकार हमारे यहाँ हुए, बहुत बड़े बड़े, जिनका बहुत बड़ा एक अपना कम्युनिटी बेसिस भी रहा है, और उनको उस तरह से सेलिब्रेट भी किया गया, उनका बहुत ही कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है। बट गदर वाज डिफरेंट, एंड हाउ आई एम सेइंग गदर वाज डिफरेंट, ये गदर है जो सारे कम्युनिटी को एक साथ कनेक्ट कर पाया था, एंड देयरफॉर आई वुड लाइक टू सी हिम एज अ फिगर ऑफ लास्ट फिगर ऑफ यूनिटी ऑफ स्ट्रगल्स। वो सिर्फ ये नहीं है, वो दलित कम्युनिटी के भी लोग आ रहे हैं, बहुजन कम्युनिटीज़ के भी लोग आ रहे हैं, लेफ्ट के लोग भी आ रहे हैं, पंजाब के लोग भी सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं। पंजाब में जाइए आपको 5 गदर मिल जाएंगे, हरियाणा में मैं 3 गदर को जानता हूँ, दिल्ली में मैं 2 गदर को जानता हूँ, झारखंड में मैं 3 गदर को जानता हूँ। सो दिस होल लाइक हाउ ही वॉज एबल टू ट्रांस लाइक समवेयर again transcend these kinds of boundaries, that limited boundaries in which we generally think about art and politics, and that was his major contribution. जो भी है बड़े बड़े आर्टिस्ट हो सकते हैं, रहे हैं, उनका बहुत ही इनॉर्मस कंट्रीब्यूशन है, बट गदर का कंट्रीब्यूशन इसलिए बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है बिकॉज ही वॉज एबल टू ब्रिंग सम काइंड्स ऑफ सिंथेसिस, वो सारे लोगों को एक साथ ला रहा है। मैं यूके में था, यूके में देखा कि एक गाना कोई सुन रहा है, एंड आई दैट टाइम आई वाज वर्किंग, तो वो गाना सुन रहा लग रहा है कि कुछ तेलुगु गाना है, बिकॉज आई वाज आल्सो नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट लैंग्वेज। तो माँ तेलंगाना में चल रहा है, दैट लाइक ए पॉपुलर सॉन्ग ही वाज प्लेइंग, एंड दिस पर्सन इज नॉट पॉलिटिकल एट ऑल, ही वाज डूइंग एमबीए, प्रॉपर एमबीए वो कर रहा है। तो मुझे कि ये क्यों सुन रहे हो, व्हाई यू आर लिसनिंग दिस लाइक गदर सॉन्ग्स। कहा कि जैसे आप लोग सुनते हैं कि वो देश में निकला होगा चांद, जैसे आप लोग सुनते रहते हैं ना कि हमारे देश में चांद निकलता है, उसी तरह से हम ये गाने सुनते रहते हैं। So he was able to connect through the resonances, he was able to connect through different kinds of energy and sensibilities. अगर आप उनके पोइट्री सुनेंगे, जैसे वो बात कर रहे थे, सर बात भी बता रहे थे, एक बहुत ही सुंदर है कि अमावस्या में बेटी हुई है और उसकी माँ है जो उसको फेंकने जा रही है, कि तो वो जो बहुत ही पॉपुलर उनका सॉन्ग है, उसको मैं उनके साथ में ट्रांसलेट भी किया था कि वो अमृतसर में बैठी हुई है, माँ उसको फेंकने जा रही है, एक कुत्ते का पिल्ला मिलता है, वो बताता है कि इसको नहीं फेंकिए। उसके बाद वो डिसाइड करती है कि वो जाके रिवर में फेंक देगी। वहाँ पे गंगा नदी उसको रोक लेती है, बताती है कि नहीं इसको नहीं फेंकी, आप जाके इसको ये करो। उसके बाद मदर डिसाइड्स दैट कि शी इज गोइंग टू रियर दैट डॉटर एंड शी इज गोइंग टू मेक हर लाइक नो, बहुत बार अपना ये परिभाषा भी बदलते रहते थे, बट सी इज गोइंग टू मेक हर ए ब्रीफ पर्सन, सी इज गोइंग टू मेक हर ए काइंड ऑफ समक्का चालुक्का, जो कि सारी जो इस तरह के फिगर्स रहे हैं, जो कि बहुत बड़े फिगर्स रहे हैं, उसमें आदिवासी कम्युनिटी से आए हैं, दलित कम्युनिटी से आए हैं। सो नाउ ही इज ट्राइंग टू कनेक्ट दोज वेज। उसके बाद मैं दूसरा है कि उसका लैंग्वेज में इट्स लाइक नो वेरी डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ लैंग्वेज। ही आल्सो हैड दिस होल लैंग्वेज ऑफ रेस, but at the same time embodiment, like some kinds of embodiment of feminism, like some kinds of feminist language. तो उसमें सारे जो फिगर्स आ रहे हैं, आइदर लाइक लच्छू मामा इज कमिंग, लच्छा गुमडी एज ए फिगर इज कमिंग, वो सारे जो सॉन्ग्स हैं, ही इज ऑलमोस्ट बिकमिंग मदर, ही इज ऑलमोस्ट बिकमिंग फेमिनाइन फिगर, एंड फ्रॉम दैट वेंटेज पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ही इज सिंगिंग द सॉन्ग। और उसमें जो कनेक्शन होता था, एंड दैट इज वाई यू सी कि वो ये है, महिलाएं भी कनेक्ट कर पा रही है, उसके बाद है जो यंग भी कनेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं, ओल्ड भी कनेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं। सो देन ऑल्सो इन जनरेशन वाइज ही वॉज एबल टू कनेक्ट अक्रॉस द बाउंड्रीज, एंड दैट इज अदर काइंड ऑफ पावर दैट यू कैन फाइंड इन गदर। उसके बाद है कि एक्सट्रीम मेटाफर्स यूज किया है, दैट आई सी रेयरली। मैं पहली बार गीत सुना गदर का, तो उसमें है कि रिवोल्यूशनरी है जो पप्पी बन के आ रहा है, कुत्ते का बच्चा बन के आ रहा है। मैं कहा ये क्या हो रहा है? Going from North India, if you're thinking that revolutionary is coming like a dog or revolutionary is coming like a cat, then you will think that, my God, what is this song he's singing? But that was his metaphors. That he is not necessarily using कि revolutionary है तो घोड़े पे चढ़ के आएगा या टाइगर पे चढ़ के आएगा और coming with some kinds of very masculine attitude. That was not his idea. Revolutionary coming as an ant, वो है, वो locust बन के आ रहा है, वो ants बन के आ रहा है, वो बहुत ही जो marginal figures हो सकता है सोसाइटी का, and then he is using all those marginal figures to mobilize that politics. And then also we can think of extreme metaphors. तो एक गीत है उसमें, वो गीत क्या है, गार्बेज मदर एक गीत है। वो बताया कि इससे मैं दिल्ली में अंडरग्राउंड था, दिल्ली में छुप के एक टीचर बन के पढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहा था। उसमें पार्टी ने कहा कि सब अंडरग्राउंड हो जाओ, तो आई वाज आल्सो अंडरग्राउंड, और दिल्ली में मैं बच्चों को पढ़ा रहा था, बता रहा था कि मैं इंग्लिश पढ़ाता हूँ। तो इंग्लिश पढ़ाने का पूरा एक्टिंग कर रहा था, पढ़ा रहा था, तो न इंग्लिश आती थी न हिंदी आती थी, किसी तरह से चलता था अपना बिजनेस। एंड देन वन नाइट ही सॉ दैट कि एक जो मदर है जो अपनी बेटी को फेंकने जा रही है, उसके बाद वो फेंक के तो चली गई। उसके बाद है जो उस समय उसको समझ में नहीं आया, जब बहुत सारे कुत्ते एक साथ जमा हो गए, इसको जब नोचने के लिए आ गए, एंड देन ही रियलाइज, देन ही आल्सो क्रिएटेड दैट होल लाइक नो कि आ जाओ सबको बुलाया, फिर उसको ये किया। बट अगेन ही रोड दिस सॉन्ग गार्बेज मदर, कि वो एक गार्बेज मदर ही है जो सबको एक साथ ले लेती है, कोई भी है, कोई भी फेंकने आ रहा है, किस तरह से सी इज द फिगर ऑफ इंक्लूसिवनेस, that she can imbibe all kinds of things, and therefore like garbage mother becomes a very popular song again. Finally उसमें बहुत सारी बातें हो सकती है, और उसमें जैसे मैं अभी लिखा भी था, कुछ पीस भी लिखा था जिसमें मैं बात कर रहा था कि बहुत सारे मैं कलाकार से मिला हूँ रिसर्च के दौरान, उसका कुछ जो एटीट्यूड है, जो पर्सनालिटी है, जो रवैया है, सब कुछ है वेरी डिफरेंट। स्टिल ही कुड क्रिएट सम काइंड्स ऑफ ऑरा। दूसरे तरह का एक ऑरा है, वो बाल भी जब ये करता है तो एक तरह का ऑरा निकलता है, जब सॉन्ग भी बोलता है तो एक तरह का ऑरा है, हाँ की आवाज़ निकलता है तो एक ऑरा है। तो उसमें स्टिल आई विल से दैट कि जो वाल्टर बेंजामिन का कहना है, बहुत सारे लोगों का कहना है कि किस तरह से हमारे आधुनिक समय में एक है जो ऑरा का लॉस हुआ है, वी हैव लॉस्ट द सेंस ऑफ ऑरा। बट आई थिंक गदर वाज द लास्ट फिगर, और मे बी परहैप्स वी फाइंड अदर फिगर्स जहाँ पर कि अभी भी वो ऑरा अभी भी आता है, कलाकार का ऑरा अभी भी बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग वे में आता है, और वो हम देख सकते थे गदर के उसमें। फाइनली उसमें है कि लोग बता रहे हैं कि गदर को महाकवि कहा जाए, महा लाइक नो ग्रेट परफॉर्मर कहा जाए, डांसर कहा जाए, इज ए कम्बिनेशन ऑफ मेनी थिंग्स। और इसलिए है कि उसको आप बांध नहीं सकते हैं, न तो उसको पॉलिटिक्स में बांध सकते हैं, न तो उसको एस्थेटिक्स में बांध सकते हैं, न तो उसको लैंग्वेज में बांध सकते हैं, न तो उसको रिदम में बांध सकते हैं, एंड दैट इज द ब्यूटी विल फाइंड। तो वो एक आदि कभी भी उसको बोल सकते हैं कि मेनी टाइम्स ऑलमोस्ट बिकम अ फिगर ऑफ सामन, लेकिन जैसे लगता है कोई रिचुअल हो रहा है, ही इज गेटिंग पजेस्ड बाय द परफॉर्मेंस इटसेल्फ। but वो आधुनिक कवि भी है. He's also talking about Dalit politics. He's also talking about modern politics. So he was a combination of many things together, and that is the way I would like to see Gaddar. And therefore, this whole idea of reducing him with one identity, one language, other language, I think is quite doing injustice to his work and his contribution. I don't think we have so much time, so I would like to stop it here. But thank you so much.
So if anyone has any questions regarding today's talk or today's topic, then floor is open to the questions.
Like sir, you raised the question about the feminine aspects of the Gaddar song, and we see the similarities in Maharashtra also in Vamandada Gaddak's song. Basically, he brings out the points like Mauli, comparing Ambedkar with Mauli, Maulichi Maya Hota, Mata Bhimraya. So, how similar is like Marathi Lokshahir Sangeet in that aspect and the Telangana's Gaddar's productions?
Yeah, so of course he also has this Marathi connection. So I was asking that कि आप ये गाना गाना कैसे शुरू कर दिया, like how he became singer, and then he was saying that कि I had two figures, like no, of course mother and father. Father was coming from Ambedkarite, also has some exposure to Ambedkarite philosophy, activism and things. But mother was like just like a person who was doing agricultural laborers kinds of work and things. And वो बता रहे थे कि वो पल्लू में उसके पल्लू लेके वो गाती रहती थी, मैं सुनते रहता था, तो मैं उसके पल्लू में गाना सीखा. So this whole like this whole journey starts with that kind of like journey, and therefore he gets very different kinds of sensibility, and I think that sensibility also comes from bhakti kinds of inspiration.